Hola a todos. Por fin os traemos tras muchas dificultades editando el vídeo del pasado martes del evento fan que montó Fox de The Walking Dead. Estuvimos con los zombies y las hordas de fans desaforados que ansiaban la llegada de los invitados. Esperamos que os guste. Catódicos saludos.
Mira, perfecto, ya está. Buenas noches a todos, lo vamos a pasar fenomenal con estos cuatro fantásticos, perdonad el chiste fácil, pero es que lo son, hemos estado ahí un rato con ellos y ya han demostrado que tienen un sentido del humor estupendo. Vamos a charlar un poco sobre la serie, sobre sus personajes y Eli, que también le conocéis porque también es un clásico.
Now that we're talking about the characters, let's talk about Aaron, because I think most of us think that The Walking Dead is a series that actively desexualizes its characters, but Aaron was never desexualized. He was always, from the very beginning, presented as gay. Was it that important then? Is it that important now? Is it important at all?
I think it's important that we definitely show voices from many different sectors and cultures and sexual orientations in media, because I think, as Kirkman has pointed out, and as Scott Gimple, our showrunner, has pointed out, they're representative of our reality. And so to subtract them from media sends a really, I think, a negative message. And I think that it's wonderful that this show has made such a concerted effort to have so many interesting characters from various different walks of life, and not just made them the checking off boxes of like, well, okay, so now we have a gay character, and we can assuage some of the criticism of maybe critics who said that it's not as diverse. They work very hard to ensure that they're fleshed out characters and that they all have something to say, and that, truthfully, for me, his sexuality is not the most exciting or important thing about Aaron. He's a fascinating person who's been in Africa. He worked in the Niger River Delta with drug lords and warlords who had guns in his face all the time. I mean, that's to me a very fascinating person, and I think it's wonderful that his sexual orientation is not swept under the rug. I think that it's an interesting point you bring up, that it's not desexualized, but I certainly don't think it's the most interesting part of it.
Yeah. La pregunta es, era un personaje de Aaron. Bueno, vemos, normalmente se han desexualizado un poco todos los personajes hasta la llegada de Adam, donde se ha visto claramente que era gay desde el principio de su presencia en el programa. Y la respuesta de Ross es, bueno, yo creo que es muy importante que podamos presentar el programa a todo tipo de distintas opciones. Kidman ya lo dijo desde el principio, que este es un mundo real que estamos presentando y no debemos de tener a la gente en cajones, sino que deben de ser lo que son. Creo que han trabajado muy duro, contrario a lo que habían dicho algunos críticos, para que los personajes fuesen realmente reales. Y creo que la sexualidad de él es bueno que exista, pero no es importante. Esto es un personaje que ha estado en África, ha estado delante de señores de la guerra y traficantes de armas y demás, y por lo tanto no hay que ocultar su situación, el hecho de que sea gay, pero tampoco es lo más importante, sino él como personaje es lo importante.
Eugene, because we've got one for Eugene. In the universe of The Walking Dead, being alive is a question of both luck and strength, we could say that. Eugene in Eugene, those two factors take great shapes, because he's strong but hasn't really got survival skills, and he's maybe too lucky. I mean, is he blessed or something?
He was blessed in that he met Abraham Ford. Eugene is in a very unique position, you know. He doesn't have the survival skills that maybe someone like Daryl or Michonne necessarily have. Obviously, look at him. But he has a very sharp mind, and he's extremely smart and can figure out a situation very quickly. And so for him to tell the lie about having the cure for the disease was just another tool in his tool bag of survival, you know, using his mind. And he kind of did the math very quickly when he came up on Abraham Ford and realized, you know, this is something that I can use to benefit me, because, you know, I know that I'm not long for this world. I know I'm not going to continue to be lucky, because someone without survival skills can only be lucky so many times. But the thing with Eugene is he just lacked the confidence. I think he does have the survival skills in a physical sense. And we saw that in episode 609, where he finally stepped up. He finally made the decision that, okay, Rosita said, you don't have to help. And he said, no one gets to clock out today. You know, this is a story that people are going to tell. And he stepped up and he had the confidence. And I feel like Eugene's a new man at this point. And so he may not need luck as much as he used to. I think luck is good for anyone. Aaron and Abraham would both appreciate some luck, you know, as any of our survivors would. But I don't think Eugene is reliant on that as much as he was in the past. And that's a good thing.
Bien, la pregunta para Josh acerca del personaje de Eugene. El mantenerse vivo, el sobrevivir en este mundo es una combinación de suerte y de fuerza. Y aunque Eugene sea alguien con fuerza, pues no es alguien que tenga esas habilidades para poder sobrevivir. Quizá ha tenido mucha más suerte que otros. La respuesta de Josh es de que tuvo la gran suerte de conocer a Abraham al principio de la situación, y esa es la suerte que tuvo él, de ser protegido por Abraham. Él no tiene las habilidades de Daryl o Michonne, pero mira cómo es, ¿verdad? Pero si pensamos, es un tío muy listo, muy inteligente y sabe cómo analizar cada situación. Y cuando les mintió diciendo que tenía la posibilidad de encontrar una cura para esta enfermedad, pues eso fue su manera de sobrevivir. Y él se dio cuenta de que con Abraham él podía tener alguna manera de sobrevivir con esa mentira. Eso es lo que pasó. Le faltaba confianza, pero finalmente en el 609 sale esa confianza. Cuando Rosita le dice, oye, no hace falta que tú salgas a luchar. Y él dice, no, todos aquí tienen que cumplir, y creo que a partir de ahora es un nuevo hombre gracias a esa nueva confianza.
Now they're watching you like watching movies, you know, they're eating popcorn. It's like so fun to watch. Greg, you've been there from day one, and how does production-wise it evolve, the series? I mean, you started out at $5 and a bunch of prosthetics, and then you have but it is not that a huge production. I mean, you don't have that, from what we read, that amount of money to work with, actually. It looks like it, but actually the budget is not that high compared to other productions, actually.
Well, what's fascinating is the amount of money that we put on the screen. The episode, the Fight for Alexandria episode, we shot in 9 days. I mean, there have been movies that didn't look as good as that episode looked, that the performances weren't as moving, the visuals weren't as compelling. It was always a small story about a group of survivors, and every once in a while we experience the world outside of Alexandria. I always talk about Alexandria as the oasis, and in season 6 we really got a chance to see outside the walls and begin to see what threats and what advantages are outside. So we're constantly expanding the world. It's a tremendously ambitious show, and we've had directors that have worked on Game of Thrones, that have worked on other big shows, that come in and say that our show is more complicated to do because of the complexity of the number of characters and tracking where everybody has to go in the series. So we're proud, and I will tell you that every single person on the stage and everybody that comes to work, Andy Lincoln and Stephen Yun and Lauren Cohan and everybody, they come with the same passion today that they did the first day. And that's unheard of in film and television. So the fact that I feel the show is better every season because we all feel a responsibility to make the show better.
Bueno, la pregunta es, parece ser que vuestro presupuesto no es muy alto y... Sí, vuestro presupuesto, no sabía si estaba hablando en el idioma correcto. Vuestro presupuesto no es tan alto como os parecería con todo lo que sois capaces de hacer. ¿Cómo empezó todo? ¿Os dieron $5 y anda, vas a comprar una prótesis? Pues nada, la respuesta de Greg es que desde el principio, por ejemplo, ahora en el episodio donde se lucha por Alexandria, eso lo filmamos en 9 días. Hay películas enteras que no quedan tan bien en la pantalla como esos 9 días que hicimos nosotros. Es decir, es una historia pequeña, pero somos capaces de darle vida. Para nosotros siempre hablamos de Oasis, o Alexandria como un oasis. Y en este sexto capítulo, sexta temporada, perdón, estamos empezando a ver más allá de los muros de Oasis y ver cómo estamos expandiendo nuestro mundo. Tenemos muchos temas ambiciosos que llevamos a cabo y ha habido directores como alguno del Juego de Tronos que han venido y han dicho que es mucho más difícil hacer lo que hacemos nosotros por la gran cantidad de personajes que hay. Pero todos los que vienen, pues Andrew Lincoln, Stephen Yeun, todos los que vienen desde el principio vienen con muchísimas ganas, muchísima pasión y nosotros lo que queremos es que cada episodio sea mejor que el anterior.